Hello and welcome to Plot Twisters.
This is a podcast where we take movies and twist the plot to see if we can make them better, and if not, more fashionable.
At the moment, we're talking about teen movies from the 90s.
On this episode, Romy and Michele's high school reunion from 1997.
I'm Anders, and all I've had to eat for the last 3 days are gummy bears, jelly beans, and candy corns.
I'm Emma. Would you excuse me? I cut my foot before and my shoe is filling up with blood. How else do you walk away from a conversation other than by describing some kind of graphic injury that you've received, right?
Hey man, I'll give her credit. It's unexpected, and we should all strive for the unexpected. What are you gonna say? No, I want to keep talking to you in this club. I don't care if you're bleeding. That's actually a good response. Do that line again, and I'll give you my best response.
Okay. Would you excuse me? I cut my foot before and my shoe is filling up with blood.
Well, as it happens, I am a doctor. Can I help?
Ooh.
Right?
Wow. I think I would be like, here's my best line to save this scenario. Well, I'd hate to see those beautiful shoes ruined. So, is there any way I can help?
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's
right?
pretty
It's
good.
a compliment, you see.
And he cares about fashion as well.
Mm.
But she would say they're already ruined because they're filled with blood. Excuse me, I'm actually dying. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. How you doing, Emma?
I'm doing so good after watching this film, let me tell you. So good. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm feeling pumped. I feel like I've had like an injection of the 90s straight
Yeah.
into my veins.
Direct
right?
feed, absolutely.
That was some raw, uncut, mid to late 90s, just like, nostalgia straight to the heart. This movie opens up with a No Doubt song that both topped the charts and also topped my joy charts, topped my internal chart. It opens up with this movie. Here's what I'm trying to say. It's
got a good soundtrack. Is that what you're trying to say?
Hey, you know what I liked about this movie? Good soundtrack.
Straight bangers, start to finish.
Straight
Absolutely.
bangers, start to
Yeah.
finish.
And it was like great 90s dance hits and some great 80s dance hits. I was loving life.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
Super good. Super, super good. Have you ever seen Romy and Michele's high school reunion before?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't.
That's fine. Good. That works.
Good for the podcast.
It's good for the
bad
podcast.
for my social reputation.
That's our format, right? Movies that I watched obsessively in high school that you've never seen. And for the record, I mean, like as we discussed before, some people might judge us because we've never seen The Godfather, but I think very few people in this world would judge you specifically for not having watched this specific movie. Am I wrong?
Well, we clearly don't move in the same kind of circles. So.
No, we definitely don't. I mean, I don't move in any circles anymore. Do you?
Nah. I wish I had circles to move in.
I move in squares. I don't know what that means, but it feels right for my persona. Emma, would you like to give us the rundown of Romy and Michele's high school reunion?
Would I? Yes, I would.
Could I be giving you a recap more?
Okay, so Romy and Michele's high school reunion. It's a film about two young women. We have Romy and we have, unbelievably, Michele.
I don't believe it.
Romy is played by Mira Sorvino and Michele is played by everybody's favorite Lisa Kudrow.
Ding, 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 ding.
So... Essentially, the story is that they go to their high school reunion. Amazingly. Yeah, I know. Shocking, right? And essentially them wanting to impress their friends. So we have a few different people that we meet from their school towards the beginning of the film through flashbacks.
Yeah.
There's a guy that Romy has a crush on. There's a guy that has a crush on Michele. There's this kind of school bullies. There's a character called Heather, played by Jenny Garofalo, who we know from Reality Bites.
She doesn't work at the Gap anymore.
Not anymore. She's a bit more of a social outsider.
Yeah.
And all of these people have different kind of relationships with our two central characters and different things that they think about them. Romy and Michele they are meant to be, I think, two kind of quite like not super intelligent, not super intellectual women who happen to have the hair color associated with that particular trait in culture. They are blonde.
But what? Blonde with black roots?
Yeah. So they are, they're really good friends. They're really good friends. They've been friends since high school. They're still friends. They're living a flat together in Los Angeles. They kind of have dead-end jobs, but they seem to just be having a really good time, and they both love fashion. But they go back to, they find out about this high school reunion, and they go back to it. We see a version of this event in which they go back to the reunion, which goes one way, and then we realize that it was in fact all a dream, and then we see the real version of it.
In sorry to interrupt, but in the longest dream sequence I think I've ever seen in a movie ever.
Yeah.
It went on for like 20 minutes.
It was it's like the middle section of the film. And then you get to the point where she goes, oh, and she just wakes up and you're like, what?
The dream sequence goes all the way until they're 100 years old on their deathbeds, and then it's all a dream.
Absolutely. Did you guess that it was a dream? I didn't.
Initially, watching it for the first time in quite a few years, I didn't know what was going on. But then at some point I guessed, maybe this doesn't feel right. I think it was the moment when Lisa Kudrow's character, Michele, goes on stage in just her bra and goes, I forgot my top. That was the moment I thought,
totally.
Maybe
but
something
there were some
on.
reactions, right? That there were some reactions, and there were some moments which kind of gave it away. I guess we can go into that more. Right. Anyway. But there's some really key stuff, which is that when they are deciding to go back to their reunion, it becomes apparent that Romy is feeling really insecure about the kind of quality of their life in comparison to some of the other people that they know. Yeah. So they make up a story to tell everyone that when they go back to the reunion, and this story is that they invented Post-its.
Sure.
So when they go back to the reunion, they're like, oh, we created Post-its, and that's why we're famous, and now we're super successful, and they wear these business suits and stuff. Right. And in version 1 of the reunion, this kind of works out fine, but in version 2, it doesn't work out as well. But the key thing is that it drives them apart. So they start as really good friends, they get driven apart by this reunion and the tension that comes from it, and then obviously inevitably they reunite as friends, and they fly off in a helicopter because a guy who had a crush on Michele when they were at high school turns up and is really rich and whisks her away in a helicopter.
Yeah.
And then they set up a fashion business together, and that's the end. So it's it's kind of wild, but yeah, the key thing is that it's 2 women that go to their reunion. There's some stuff that happens, and then it's fine in the end.
Pretty much, yeah. I think that pretty well covers it. So what did you think about it?
I think, once again, I'm going to ask you to guess and see what I thought. What did you think I thought of this film? All
right, here's what I think you thought. I know you like the TV show F.R.I.E.N.D.S.
Yes.
From the 90s. So I have to think that you like the movie a little bit because, Lisa Kudrow's in it.
Yeah.
I also know that you like 90s dance music and you like fashion, especially big, bold colors. Am I wrong?
You are not wrong.
Okay, so I think you probably like this movie because it had Lisa Kudrow wearing pink clothes, dancing at clubs, and it was funny and sort of lighthearted, and I think you probably enjoyed it. That's what I think.
Yes, you are correct.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, it's a scream. It's a scream. It's so fun. It's so silly. It's so ridiculous and camp. And yeah, it's great. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Awesome. How about you?
Kind of the same. I mean, I thought it was really funny. I thought it was, a little bit silly, but it also felt like there was this layer to it that was like, we're winking at the fact that this is silly, right? Like it was smart and kind of stupid at the same time.
Yeah.
And I don't know the cinema words for that, but when it's like this wasn't just a movie about, two people going to their reunion and leaving in a helicopter. It was like two people who are fine being themselves, and for a second they veer away from their confidence and try to be somebody else, but in the end they realize I should just be myself. And I think a movie that says to you, man, just be you, dude, like be you, and do whatever makes you happy, I think is very appealing. And the only other thing that I will say is, I mean, the movie was like, it was set in 1997. That's my flippin' wheelhouse, man. Like it just felt like the 90s to me, and I really liked it.
I think there's the real highlight for me is, well, other than the fashion and the music, was the moment, the really key moment where Michele kind of says to Romy, I didn't think badly about our life until you said that we weren't doing well. I thought we were having a great time. I thought we were having a blast. I thought high school was a blast. Why don't we just have fun and do what we always do and have a great time? And she goes, oh yeah, and it's, you need to stop worrying about impressing people. Because I think the thing that's so lovely about this film, and it was almost so nice, it actually made it made me kind of, I was watching it, I was kind of going, it's not very believable. Is that they're really good friends, and it's really nice.
Yeah,
and
it's
they have
really
a
nice.
really nice life together. And I know, like, I don't want to be that person who's like, oh, you're having a great time, so you can't be sad at all. But it's just like,
right.
I would so much rather have a really good best friend who I have a fun time with and hang out with than impress some people who are quite nasty anyway,
Dude, totally. Here's the thing. Every movie that we've watched that is set in like high school in the 90s, in this case, this was set in high school in the 80s, whatever, they're usually about people who are cool and are nasty. We had that in this movie. Or people who are nerds and wish they were cool, but then in the end they learn maybe being myself is fine. But in this movie, it was like, they didn't know where they sat on the social pecking order, and it didn't matter because they thought they were really cool. They had a positive outlook on everything, and they just sort of rolled with it. We haven't met characters like that who are like blissfully naive about the world around them.
Yeah.
And I think you're supposed to read that as a flaw at the beginning, but I only read that as a positive.
Oh yeah, no, it's
Right?
weird, isn't it? Because it's like it's. I think it's a very aspirational lifestyle that we see in a lot of ways, and in the sense that it's like, oh, these are beautiful people problems, in the same way that Cher and Clueless's problems are like, oh, it's like, oh, you're so beautiful and impressive and awesome, and you have these minor difficulties.
Oh no, we don't have a driver's license, but we're just driving around in our convertible. Oh no, we're going to a cool party in the valley, but my dad says I have to get home soon. Right? They don't have real problems.
But it's not that I would say, like, it's not that they don't have real problems. It's more that it's because this is I think that is very relatable to be, well, my age, which is the age that they are. I'm the same age as them, I believe.
Oh, right. Right, because you're like in your late 20s, right?
Yeah, I'm also 10 years away from high school.
Whoa.
I know.
I've
weird,
been there.
right?
I've been there. I was that age at one point.
You remember, yeah.
Yep.
It all gets better from there, right? But it's like, to be in that position where you are at a place where you feel like maybe you should be doing better than you are. Yeah. And there are potentially people there's a big difference in how the people your contemporaries around you are doing versus how you are doing, or there's like measurable differences. I would say, like, if you're all 21, you're all kind of in the same. There hasn't been enough time for anyone to sort of dramatically advance enough.
Right.
But if you're 28, it's like, oh, cool, you're married with 5 kids and you're doing this and you're doing great and I'm just here or whatever, So I think that is a real problem, but it's just like, oh, you're such good friends and you're having such a nice time and you have such nice clothes and
everything's nice. So what? You don't have a cool job. Who cares, right? You've been friends all through high school, and now you're roommates, right?
Yeah. You're winning.
Do you have reunions in England?
I'm sure some people do. I'm sure that is a thing. I
No.
haven't had one. I don't think
Really?
it is such a thing for my school.
Oh.
Certainly if there is, I mean, to be honest, if there was one, it would be this year, and this year is cancelled. So
This year was cancelled.
But I think there's certainly, if there are reunions, they certainly aren't treated with anywhere near of the kind of like pageantry and celebration that American ones seem to be. Although that may be me basing that entirely on films. But it's not. You know, Americans just do stuff like that better. They just do parties better than we do. Like nobody cares here, and I think it would be really fun. I assume you probably had a reunion, right?
Yeah. This is the portion of our podcast where I feel quite a few years older than you. My creaking bones. Oh, where's my cane, mother? I need my pills. I have memories of the before times.
Yes.
I had so okay. Next year, in the year 2021, right? Which is
45 million years from now.
Yeah.
It feels like.
In October 2021, I will be theoretically attending my 20-year high school reunion. Hang on, let me take my heart medication for a second. Good Lord.
Wow. What's it like having one foot in the grave? Jeez.
Shut up, Emma. I wouldn't know because I'm a young person. Have you not seen my sideways baseball hat? No, backwards. That's what the kids do. Backwards. So yes, my 20-year high school reunion is coming up. And I did, in fact, attend my 10-year high school reunion nearly 10 years ago. Do you want to know what that was like?
I really do. Yes, please.
Super weird.
Yeah.
100% weird. And let me tell you why. Because in high school, we've talked about this before. My experience in high school was not dissimilar to many of the films that we've watched. You know, I went to high school in a beautiful high school, and it was really fancy, and there was like the clear defined groups as you know, if you have your cafeteria map, you'd know exactly where to find everyone, right? And it was, you know, it was the 90s. So it felt right. It felt like every movie we've watched. When I went to my high school reunion in 2011, all these people were trying to pretend like they weren't sitting at different tables in the cafeteria, right? And everyone's like popular, you know, people and the like the jocks and the nerds and the goths and the, you know, and the choir kids and the, you know, and the cowboys and the espresso, you know, whatever kids.
So did everyone just like regress?
Everyone's just like, hey, how's it going? Haven't seen you in 10 years. And no offense, person I'm not going to mention, but you know what I was thinking? Yeah, we haven't seen each other in 10 years. What makes you think that I want to talk to you now? We didn't talk then and we don't talk now. Meanwhile, the people that I thought I wanted to hang out with, they were all hanging out with the people that I didn't want to hang out with. What I'm saying is all the lines blurred. But I remember the lines. You know why?
Yeah.
Because it's important to remember your roots, okay? And if you were a jerk to me 10 years ago, it's not like I'm just going to forget that you were a jerk to me.
Yeah.
The end. I'm being pretty dramatic. What mostly happened was there was a very nice dinner party. I saw a few people that I wanted to see. I reminisced about high school. I saw some folks that I hadn't seen in a while. And, you know, most people have kind of turned out fine, and it was all fine. The thing about high school reunions is this. There is a lot of nerves and, I guess, there's some trepidation where it's like, what if I haven't changed enough? What if I haven't done enough? So I really, like, genuinely felt that when I went to my reunion. I thought, what if other people have done a lot more with the last 10 years than I have? And what if we all feel the same? Turns out neither was true. We were all just grown-ups who hadn't seen people that we had known in our lives for a long time. And we drank some beers and, ate some fancy cheese, and it was all fine.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't think it's a really thing. I'm sure I will at some point reunite with people I went to school with.
Right.
But I think my I don't know if I'm unusual, and I reflected on this after watching this film, why this might be a thing. But like, I don't think I really feel that competitive with the people I went to school with, and I wonder if that's because I was interested in quite different things to a lot of my friends. Like, they're all doctors. And I was like, in the drama club. So it's like I kind of didn't have a chance in that regard anyway. But, I think I have quite a lot of respect for the people I went to school with. And
Yeah.
I do feel like I try not to compare myself with them too much, which I think is the right way to be. I think that's the right way to be.
Totally.
And I think like that this film kind of that exemplifies that message quite well, particularly towards the end, when they're like, hey, yeah, we don't have 3 kids, and yeah, we're not, working for Vogue or whatever, but we're having a nice time and we're doing good. And I think if I could have added something into that moment, it maybe would have been them being happy for other people as well, more, that was slightly missing.
Yeah, totally.
Or them kind of, celebrating other people, and that thing that you said of like, hey, yeah, you're just a human, and I hope you do well, and I hope your life is nice, and whatever your journey is your journey, and my journey is different, and it's all fine. Maybe that's probably too, it's like a hippie attitude of mine.
I think it's a great attitude. We should all say that more, right? And like people you went to school with, it's okay that you're not friends with them anymore, or even in touch with them anymore, because they're just human beings who happened to be living in the same place.
Yep.
And born at the same time, and so you were brought together. You don't have to be friends with everyone you went to high school with, but I think it's a nice thing to, wish them well, right? And so when you see someone at a reunion, it's like, I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're well. And we mean it because, we used to sit next to each other in history class or whatever, right?
Yeah.
We used to be together during that time of our lives where everything felt like it was the most important thing ever, and we shared an experience, even if our own stories were completely different, and our paths led in different ways. I've got no beef with the people I went to high school with. I didn't have rivals or bullies or whatever. I just wasn't friends with everybody in my class. That's fine. I still hope that they're fine and alive and stuff.
Well, yeah, because I think it's like, I think this is a thing that you do realize as you age.
I'm listening.
Which is that, like, everyone is different, right? And everybody has their own little mold that they fit into, and comparing yourself to other people is not only like a very dark hole to start going down, but it's also just it's like what's right for you isn't right for other people. And I think that's what's so interesting about watching these films that are about school, where everyone's trying to fit into the same mold. But it feels like such a cliche to say, but people still don't get that, People still don't understand. Like, it's fine to be different, and it's fine that you're not like other people, and you can just be you, and just try and be the best you. Don't try and be the best someone else.
Right.
Ugh.
Wise words. Wise words, indeed.
One more thing I think I just wanted to say is that, like, I mentioned how much I love the friendship between Romy and Michele in this.
Yeah.
And in this film, and I think it's really interesting. Like, there were actually a couple of people at my school, I think, who I remember having a super best friendship,
right?
Like this.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're all still friends as well. So it's like, it's so cool when you really, really click with someone like that, and you're like, we're best friends, and we're gonna be best friends forever, and this is the thing. It can happen, and I saw it happen, and they are still friends, and it's like, that's great.
I love
That's
that.
really nice,
I still have really good friends from high school, but not in the way that nobody is friends. The way that Romy and Michele are friends. You're right. That's something to aspire to.
Not even you and me.
Sure. Yeah, but we're like new money, right? We're new beans. Okay, we're friends, but not. We don't have. We started like season.
We don't
5.
have a choreographed dance that we would do it.
No, but I'm up for it.
Not yet.
I'm up for it, right?
Yeah.
I would say it's all in the hand movements.
Yeah.
Because I'm not really like a dancer, but I can definitely I can move my body with enthusiasm. If you
So I cannot let this movie pass us by without mentioning some of the looks in this film.
Oh, so many looks.
It's so good. Probably one of my favorites was the kind of cherries theme that Michelle had going on.
Yeah.
She had these like amazing cherry earrings. Will definitely be going to Etsy and seeing if I can find some of this. This film was actually the costume designer on this film was a lady called Mona May.
Yeah.
Who has had a long and illustrious career, and she's done some other titles that we might be familiar with.
Shut up. What? Really?
What's another film that we've seen that has incredibly iconic fashion that I couldn't shut up about?
Clueless?
Yes!
She did the fashion for Clueless?
She did, yeah.
She did the iconic yellow checked skirt thing.
She did, yeah, and she's done
awesome.
loads of other amazing films as well. Like she did House Bunny as well. I don't know if you've seen House Bunny, like that film, but
yeah, I've seen that. That has an actor who was in Saturday Night Live in it. Anna Faris from Saturday Night Live is in it. Yeah.
But I think what's really cool about it is that this is one of those films that like it does such a good job of capturing the essence of the time through the clothes, but it also would have set trends in it. You know, like it will have also inspired fashion. It's both influenced by and inspires fashion. It's so cool in the sense that like all of Romy and Michelle's looks are kind of coordinated as well, which I thought was really cool. Like they complement each other really well, and they have a really like consistent theme going throughout it. And they also did a really good job with the Reunion 1 and Reunion 2 in like dressing the other students to kind of tell us about them. So like in Reunion version 1, everybody looks like they're from the 50s. Like they all look like they're in Greece or something.
Right.
Which was a really good comment on what Romy and Michele were expecting everyone to value, because they were trying to impress them. You know, they were expecting everyone to kind of still be cliquey and still be like, you know, it reflected that really well through what they were wearing. But then when they came to Reunion 2, everything was a bit more basic, and so they were kind of less interesting, and that was making a comment about them as well. I just thought it was so cool, and that was primarily what I was focusing on. So I loved that. I love the music, as I mentioned.
Oh, so good.
I love the casting.
So yes.
I love Alan Cumming. He's amazing.
He was great, wasn't he? Great.
So
you
good.
know, hey, listen. Spoiler alert. You know what other movie that we're gonna watch that he's in?
What's that?
Dude, he's in Spice World.
Oh my gosh.
Get
That's
ready.
So exciting. So yeah, I mean there's loads of stuff. It's so fun, and it's so and I really hate to be this person. I hate to be my classic buzzkill.
Oh no. Buzzkill. Madam Buzzkill is here.
Yes, yeah.
There we go.
There's just a few things I'd like to just quickly say that I thought were a little bit problematic.
Okay,
but all right. It's a fun film. It's a really fun film, and I get that it's fun, and I get that it's silly, and you know, I don't want to be that person. Oh, please don't hate me.
I mean, to be fair, you definitely want to be that person. You were born to be this person. You are our collective. What's that thing where there's like a good angel and like kind of a buzzkill on your back or whatever? No, wait, the good one's the buzzkill.
The good one's the buzzkill.
The devil is like, come on, kill him, right?
Yeah.
You're the one who goes, maybe don't kill him.
Maybe
don't do it because murder is bad. And feminism is good. Am I right?
I'm the little feminist.
Are we going to talk about feminism for a second?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, a little
fine.
bit. Yeah.
Cool.
We'll just whiz through it. We'll just blitz through it.
Yeah. Let's talk about feminism, and then we'll twist it. What do you say?
Sounds
deal?
Great.
All right, deal.
Yes. Love that.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things that was really glaring was the way that weight and diet culture was handled in this film. Which is incredibly exemplative of the 1990s, which was like peak supermodel, aspirational, toxic diet culture time. Yeah. But I think it's worth mentioning because I would actually go so far to say is that I think this film could be quite triggering for somebody who's in recovery.
Yeah. 100%.
a lot of the way that it's talked about and a lot of the stuff that's joked about really casually, I was like, so
Yeah.
like, just some of the way that they talk about, because one of the things they decide to do is to lose weight before they go to this reunion, which I imagine is something that a lot of other people would also consider, because in our society, having as little body weight as you possibly can is considered an achievement. That was something that was mentioned quite a lot, and it's just really not good.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, I know it's fun and I know it's silly, but like it can be really damaging for people to hear stuff like that. Another thing that wasn't great was I think, just like I kind of mentioned, the way that the women specifically interacted with each other. I know it's unrealistic to expect, like, oh, you should only ever portray everybody being best friends and you should say that everyone is like happy and empowering all the time. But there was a bit of it which was about comparing the success of women in the way that the success of men wasn't kind of handled as much. Specifically, like, the idea that having babies is not as much as of a success as being a businesswoman, or vice versa. I think it's just but it's like, obviously that's going to be the way that it's talked about because it's the 90s, but I just wanted to mention it because, we need to stop comparing women all the time. In short,
it's no, it's a really good PSA, because I think all in all, this movie, whilst it's well over 20 years old, is a fun movie to watch now and gives a positive message about being yourself, and that's fine, and not taking things too seriously, and the power of friendship, etc., etc., etc. But there's some bad stuff and some bad messages for particularly women, but also for people with body image. There's some bad messages. I felt the same way. Although, didn't you kind of like watching them? It was kind of cool that they went to the gym and they were wearing like big heels on the treadmill at the same time.
Yes,
right?
No, that was brilliant. If they'd said, let's get really fit,
right,
and be really fit and strong, then I would have been so on board and I would have loved it, because all those workout scenes were amazing, and like the spin class and everything was so good. Okay, so there's another bit at the end that I really liked, which is Sandy Frink's entrance, and he comes in out of the helicopter, and Bad Case of Loving You is playing.
Yeah.
And it's so cool. So my question is, if you had, say you're at your 20th reunion,
what?
And you turn up and everyone turns and they go, oh my god, it's Anders. What badass song would be playing as you walked in?
Okay, my first thought is everybody, yeah, rock your body, yeah. Everybody, back streets back, all right. Yeah, and then I'd do like the zombie dance or whatever. Oh my god, I'm back again, and everyone go, whoa, he's back.
That would be amazing. That would be so good.
So that's what I want, the Backstreet Boys song. What about you?
Shot through the heart in your to blame. You give love a bad name. And then I walk in backwards during this part, right? And then the guitar hero goes down, and I turn around and I flick my hair like and then I just walk in like and it's like amazing. And then the fire starts like
yeah. That's so good. We're going to look so cool at our high school reunions.
So cool.
Suck it, nerds. We're back and we've got a theme song. What do you have? Some kids? Yeah, well, I've got flames on my back.
Well, I'm a rock star in my own head.
Yeah, sign my yearbook, bitches. Hi, are you fun and good at talking about movies? Well, we're looking for guests to join us on our podcast. If you'd like to have a go at twisting a movie, shoot us an email at plottwisterspod@gmail.com. Or go outside your house and shout loudly, "Emma and Anders, I want to be on your podcast!" If you're within half a mile of my house or Emma's, we'll hear you. Bye. Emma, what are you thinking about flipping this mother?
I mean, I have some actual edits that I think I could fix it with. But if you want to do a fun one, then we could do a fun one. Because my edits are quite short. Do you have a fun one?
Here's where my head's at. Don't take away the positivity. Don't take away the friendship. Don't take away the energy. Let's not do the things that we normally do. We're not going to do time travel. We are not going to make Romy and Michele end up being a couple in the end, although that could happen, right?
I know. Fine.
That's too obvious. It's too obvious.
If you say so.
Listen,
Ugh.
even though they have a get out clause wherein apparently if they turn 30 and they're not married, they will,
I mean, they're 28.
You're leaving it pretty fine, right? And if you're into each other, just you're into each other. But I don't think that's where we should go. And I like the whole people were jerks to them, but they were like really nice. And then they come back to the reunion and they find out that, those jerks are still jerks and they're still nice. And the lesson is be nice. The thing that didn't quite make sense to me, or rather the part of the plot that I think could have been fleshed out a bit, was they're clearly fashion designers, okay? But they only really start talking about that. They hint at it. Oh, we don't have time to make clothes before we go to the club. Oh, well, we'll just wear what we're wearing. They're always dressing well, and they talk about the fact that they sew stuff, but they only show a sewing machine like once, I think, right?
True, yeah.
So what if they, in high school, took like a sewing class, like a home ec class or whatever, and that's where they learned how to sew.
We kind of lace it more throughout the film.
Yeah, exactly. We kind of thread that theme a little bit more, right? Make it more of a patchwork, right? Quilt, if you will. And it's and this movie will really sing her, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Right. What if? Okay, so you're sold on the let's make it more about sewing. Yes.
Well, I think definitely I would like to see more of a specific direction for these two ladies that involves them undergoing some kind of character development, because I'm the first person to criticize the taking off the glasses, but they started amazing and they ended amazing, Yeah,
exactly.
So, where do they go? Where do they go? We need them to develop.
So maybe when they're in high school, they dress weirdly and it's not cool, but actually they're wearing very weird, poorly sewn things, right?
Here's something that's fun.
Yeah.
They went to high school in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
So the 80s style was very specific and defined.
And poofy.
And frilly.
Yeah.
And these girls are very, very 90s, and something that fashion can sometimes do is it can, almost predict the future, and you say that a designer was ahead of their time.
Yes.
So what if they were wearing 90s very 90s clothes in the 80s, and everyone was like, where are your shoulder pads, or whatever.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. So they're making jeans in their home ec sewing class, and the teacher's like, those legs are awfully wide,
very
ladies.
wide, yeah.
And they're like, teacher says our legs are wide, but I think they're really good. What do you think, Michele? Right? They're great. We're gonna call them Jenkos, if you will.
They're the founders of Jenko jeans.
Maybe they invent Jenkos
Whoa.
for real, right? They're predicting fashion, and everyone thinks they dress weird, but eventually they invent Jenkos, and they become successful before the reunion, right?
But how about this?
Yeah.
They were wearing them in the 80s, and then they get to the 90s, and they're like, oh, those aren't cool anymore. We don't even care about them. We're not interested in them. And then some other guy is like, hey, those jeans. I found these jeans in your closet. Yeah, those are just some jeans I made in the 80s. They're just something.
Yeah.
And then the guy's like, but these are awesome.
Man.
I'm going to be the one to steal your idea.
And his name, Jeremy Jenko.
Jeremy Enko.
Jeremy J. Enko. Yeah. All right. So what you're saying is they're in high school. They're not cool. They sew clothes that people think are not fashionable. They give up on fashion. Maybe they throw away all their designs because nobody gets them. And then a young Jeremy Nko finds them and becomes famous on their designs. And he is one of their classmates. He's the
Sandy Frink character.
He's the Frink, exactly.
So it is Sandy Frink, but his name is now
Jeremy Nko.
Jeremy Nko. Cool. Okay, and it's still Alan Cumming because he's great.
Oh, it's still Alan Cumming. Fine. So they show up at the reunion, and they're now wearing clothes that are 2000s-y.
Whoa. Whoa.
Which ironically look a lot like the 80s. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
But they're wearing fashion-forward clothes as well. Jeremy Nko shows up in his helicopter. And he's now out of fashion, but very rich because he invented clothes in the 90s that were based off the designs from the 80s that Romy and Michele made. And then they get in a big fashion fight. And then, you know their friend who's not their friend but works for Vogue magazine?
Oh, yeah.
Right? So she goes, hey, everybody. The only way to settle this is on the runway. And so instead of...
And it's like a Zoolander thing.
Yes. And they reveal 2 sewing machines, and they have 1 hour at the reunion to design a new outfit.
Yes.
Right?
Like Project Runway.
It's like Project Runway meets Zoolander meets
Drag Race.
Meets Romy and Michele's high school reunion. And everyone's like,
good.
you're the real designer, Jeremy Nko. This will be no problem. And he's going, but I know fashion. I invented the Jenkos. But he didn't invent the Jenkos. He's a liar, and he's not a fashion guy at all. And so
he's a fraud.
He's a fraud.
And there could still be like some tension between Romy and Michele, and maybe the thing is that they've still had their argument for like the same reason.
Yeah.
But they come back together, and maybe Romy is the one, because she said like, "Oh, Michele, you're not as good as I am." Romy's the one who kind of takes the helm of the sewing machine, and she tries to create an incredible outfit, and then she realizes that she can't do it without Michele because their whole thing is that they bounce off each other, so they have to quickly reunite.
Yeah.
And then they work together on the outfit, and then they make this incredible outfit, and then there's an amazing fashion show, and then there's like music playing, and it's really 90s, and it's really cool.
And then they win. Then they're like, you are the true designer, and also prom queen, and also reunion prom queen.
Yes.
And then they get their own fashion line, and they open the store in California.
And their names are Romy Dolce and Michele Gabbana.
Ever wonder where those famous designers came from?
Yep.
They came from this movie,
This
right?
movie.
Yeah. And then in the end, I don't know, Jeremy Nko, he runs away in shame, and his Jenkos rip, and his jeans fall off because they're really baggy. And then
and then Romy and Michele are like, look at these stupid jeans, and they cut them up and they turn them into 2 denim dresses.
Yeah.
One each.
And you know what? They're fabulous.
Yes.
And
hey, that's brilliant.
Roll credits. That's the movie.
That's it. Wow.
I'm going to tell you right now, I would super watch that movie. I would watch hell out of that movie. Do you know why? Because I like fashion design shows. I like Project Runway.
Designer.
Sew those pants, designers. Right?
This is not America's Next Top Best Friend. Let me just say. That on America's Next Top Model, someone will be like, oh, this person's being really mean. And you go, well, it's not America's Next Top Best Friend. So,
dude, you know that every reality show ever has the same phrase uttered at least once. I'm not here to make friends.
This
I'm
is not
here to
RuPaul's
win.
Best Friend race.
This is RuPaul's Drag Race, right?
This is RuPaul's Drag Race. Exactly.
But, Emma, this is not a reality show. This is a film podcast. So we really need to do that thing that we do and rate this movie.
Let's do it.
I would love to know, on a scale of 1 to 5 stolen hamburgers, how many hamburgers would you give the 1997 film Romy and Michele's High School Reunion?
Once again, reinforcing that this is more about how much we liked it than it is about our understanding of the quality of the content. And
what's the problem with that?
Looking at the 6.2 rating on IMDb, I'm going to give this one 4 hamburgers.
Yeah, damn, nice.
I'm dishing out a lot of 4s at the moment, but it was great. And like I said, there are a few criticisms that I had, which keep it from going beyond that. But I just love it. It's such a joy to watch, and they're so beautiful, and they're so fashionable and gorgeous and good at dancing.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to see that? Come on.
I agree. Hey, listen, I'm gonna go one more. I'm gonna say I'm gonna give it 4.5 hamburgers.
Ooh.
Do you know why? Because it was funny and it's lighthearted, and this is one of those movies that I finished the movie genuinely, and I thought I could just watch this movie again.
No, I agree.
Okay?
I would quite happily just watch it again right now. Yeah.
And like, not for nothing, but if there's a movie you watch and you just want to watch it again right afterwards, that's something.
Yeah.
That means it's got a really good heart to it. And, at the end of the day, that's what this movie had. 2 people who are really good friends who don't care what other people think. And, I'm into that message, right? That's just like you, except that we're 2 people who are friends who are crippled by what other people think.
Why am I laughing?
Because it's true.
Yeah.
Hey, Emma, I don't know if you noticed, but while we've been recording this episode of the podcast, I've been wearing a brand new suit. Do you like it?
Oh, that is a nice suit. Yeah, it's good. So, what do you do?
Oh, I'm a suit salesman.
Oh.
You want to buy a suit?
No, my shoe is filling up with blood. I need to leave. Sorry, bye.
Wait, come back. I'm a doctor. Ah! Thank you for listening to this episode of Plot Twisters.
Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye. You know that new idea you've been looking for? Look at this. Yogurt.